Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that.
Well, I just got back from some travel, and on my return flight back to Boston, there was a man sitting in first class wearing an Apple Vision Pro. And it was maybe the most cyberpunk dystopian thing I've seen in a while. And I also got a little jealous, if I'm honest.
Wow, that's the only time anyone's ever been jealous of an Apple Vision Pro.
100%, 100%. Like, I realize that objectively this is a ridiculous thing, but like seeing someone sit on an airplane and not have to be on an airplane was like, my God, he's cracked the code. He's not even here. He's somewhere else entirely.
No, but that's not... that is a illusion that's broken the moment he has to go to the bathroom and has to like take it off. And he's like, oh man,
oh no, yeah. But
I'm
then he realized
first class.
He was sitting in first class. Poor me.
Poor me. I mean, it is literally cyberpunk in that I think in one of the first trailers for Cyberpunk 2077, there is a person on a first class plane that like hacks somebody else's cyber implants and they die, like their head explodes or something. And it's like, is that the future you want?
Is that it?
Theo? Is that the Apple Vision Pro?
Like, it's really unnerving, but it's like, I think that's the future we're headed for, is everybody on airplanes just wearing VR goggles, because it's just like the most unpleasant place to be in your whole life is on an airplane. And I would love to fully be able to dissociate, but I have to sit there and look at my phone screen instead of being immersed in a tropical rainforest watching my episodes of Penguin. And you know.
The thing is, it's just the blocking out everything else. Like, it's the same thing. Is you're just having a screen close to your eyes. So it's not, I don't think it's the future, because everyone's been saying VR is the future for the past 10 years. And I just think specifically
for airplanes, it seems really good, because no one wants to be on an airplane. Like, it seems really bad, and I don't want to talk to anybody, and I don't want to have to see anybody, and it just get me out of there. Just get me out of there.
I'm proud of you that you found the one use case that's good for Apple Vision Pro.
Yeah, the man sitting there spent, what, $1,500 on the Apple Vision Pro and probably $10,000 on the seat, so good for him, I guess.
Yeah, he has got money to burn.
He's got money to burn.
Every single review I saw of the Apple Vision Pro was people sitting in their living room being like, and it replicates your living room. And I'm like, this is the worst review ever.
This is the worst. You could be anywhere in the world and you're sitting in your own living room through a virtual screen.
Try to like use it in other places. I don't know. I have an Oculus Rift that I bought like years ago. I don't use it all that much. Yeah. So I feel I wouldn't want to buy this for myself. I do. That is very cyberpunk though. So
it's very cyberpunk. Do you think that if someone handed you VR goggles as you were getting onto a plane, would you put them on during your flight? You think that you would do that? Would you take that plunge?
That's some hypotheticals do. Is this a world where that's a thing that happens? Because if somebody did that to me now, I'd go, what's the catch? Like, why are you
they're like,
doing that?
It's like this, or you have to go in the cargo hold. Sorry, buddy.
Oh,
so no, I
have to go to the cargo hold anyway. They're like, this will make it better, though.
Wearing VR goggles has big window seat energy. You've got to be so confident no one's tapping you on the shoulder and saying, hey, buddy, I got to go pee. Like, you've got to be so confident. Huh?
You can only do it in first class. You can't be the...
You cannot do it,
bucket.
You can't do it anywhere else.
No, absolutely not. But I don't know. I think the screens that are on the back of seats are obviously terrible and always like fuzzy, but it's also like, I'm not expecting all that much from an airplane. It's a big bus in the sky.
Can I throw an additional curveball about this man? I saw him sitting with his, presumably his daughter, and I guess a caretaker for his daughter in the airport.
Okay.
He was sitting in first class.
Oh no. Don't say it.
He was sitting in first class.
Oh,
that's all I'll say.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You can't do that to people. You can't. Like, unless there are some thing, if everybody's adults, like that's a different situation, but it's also like if you're, because I went on a international flight that my girlfriend's dad and her grandma were in first class because she's an old lady and like
sure, right.
So it's extra comfort. Like that makes more sense. It's also their money, whereas we paid with our own money, and so we're like, we're not doing first class. We're getting coach.
Right.
So like there's certain things like that, but if it's like. But if they have a caretaker, like that implies a certain
I can only
thing.
presume it was the caretaker because I do not know how you do your wife like that. Like, I just don't understand the world in which that is possible.
The point is there are certain ways to do it that if it's all family who are all in the same bill, terrible.
Terrible. He's up in first class with his Apple Vision Pro and she's back there with like a toddler. Like, woof.
Woof.
Anyways.
That's really bad. Anyway, that is what you're going to get at the Segment City Airport. We're going to be flying off to all your favorite locations, including St. Louis.
And
that's it.
That's great. Direct flight, though. That's nice.
And my name is Will Kane, and this is your captain speaking, Will Kane, and we are hitting some funny turbulence. There's lots of laughs causing the plane to shake from all the uncontrollable goofs and gaffes.
And I'm Theo Sapakos, and I'm hacking into your Vision Pro. I'm showing you all the videos. I'm showing you videos of Knack.
It's all porn. No, it's all that porn. No,
not on an airplane.
There's so many pieces to them. They're really embracing the next gen.
Oh God.
Oh man, this is a podcast in which Theo and we just talk about flights and airplanes all the time. We complain about TSA, but you know what? They deserve it. No, I'm just kidding. This is a podcast in which Theo and I dumpster dive our way through the internet. We get those good comedy morsels for you, and we package them into segments. And we're going to start with, this is in between a Will Super Thought and a Will Asks. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just put it into Will Super Thought. When gamblers die in media, they are often sent to Gambler's Hell, which the most like known version of this is there's a Twilight Zone episode where a gambler dies and then he goes to hell. And this is usually the thing which makes it hell is he always wins. Like the gambler has some negative. So this made me think, what are some other occupation-based hells?
You go to plumber's hell and all the toilets are clean and they work. Oh!
No, I don't have any money. Where am I going to get funds? I wrote down a couple of these, starting close to home. Programmers and a meeting that'll never end before free food.
The only way. That's the worst.
5 more minutes, guys. 5 more minutes, and then you'll be able to get your pizza. They're like, I just gotta get. That's hell. It never ends. Another one I had: live musicians always touring but never playing.
They got all the bad
parts. Yeah,
all the bad parts.
They just go to like Buc-ee's somewhere. They're always like at an old Greyhound bus. It's all the bad parts without the like being a rock star. Mm-hmm. You know. The only one that I think would actually get like normal hell is firefighters. I think firefighters
fire.
Because it's all fire.
It's fire everywhere.
Fires everywhere.
It's trying to put out the water, just never goes down. It just that's not good.
It's always on fire. Yeah, and you're constantly maybe somebody's like shouting for help. That's a sad.
Yeah, maybe it's just you're on the truck on the way to the fire forever, and you're getting increasingly urgent calls that the fire is getting worse.
Here's a question of similarly. Would a soldier going to the battle be worse, or a soldier constantly in a firefight be worse?
I don't know. I feel like even the soldier coming back from the battle is pretty not good.
Yeah.
Maybe like any part of that pretty sucks.
Probably like constant artillery. Like just you're never comfortable. Ugh, that's bad. A McDonald's employee is Donald Trump is in your you have to teach him how to do the fire later every day.
Save me. No. See, my own personal hell.
The weirdest little publicity stunt anyone's ever done.
I like the gambler's hell because it's too good to be true. It's like if someone takes all the agency out of your job and you don't get to like do the thing you're supposed to do. This is very good.
The gambler's hell is great because it gives you exactly what you want, and it's the realization that that's not what it's the struggle, I guess, for gamblers. Gambling is also just a mental addiction, so it's hard to like pinpoint exactly what it is. But it's also, what's other things that it's like, technically you won. Technically you're getting what you want. Yeah, like as a gambler, it's a similar thing with like stock traders who like never experience a loss. I don't feel like if they never experience a loss, that's actually not a hell for them. No. Yeah, I thought about that.
Wall Street bets hell is just putting all your money every day on a stock with full security that the internet's knowledge is right and you're going to strike it big. And just by the end of the day, you're decimated over and over.
And it's GameStop. It's GameStop
over and over. Do you ever go on Wall Street Bets, the subreddit, and you just see people losing absurd amounts of money? They just have screenshots of Robinhood, and it's like they went from $500,000 to $3,000 in a day.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, how did you start with $500,000 and fuck that up? How'd you fuck that up?
I saw something that I was like, oh, that's actually a really smart thing. Is somebody just cloned Nancy Pelosi's investments or like other politicians?
Yeah.
And like people were, it's like, yeah, they probably have a good beat on it.
Pulse. Pretty good pulse.
So,
yeah.
Yeah. Those are, it's just some personal hills. I think the programming one, what would be a good, it's all bugs. No matter how many bugs you squash, there's another bug that comes up. That's another
that,
good
or just like
one.
You're trying to help somebody and it works on your machine and it doesn't work on theirs, and there's no explainable reason why.
It works on my machine.
It works on my machine.
The worst thing you could hear is
I love saying it. It's great.
Works on my machine.
I don't know.
Not my problem. But that is We'll Sip With That. And now we're going to move on to your first segment.
My first segment for the episode. It comes to us from PR Newswire. I'm slopping through the trough, baby. I'm getting through the mud.
You're speaking of soldiers in the trenches.
That's
it's
right.
You.
I'm going to start my own takeout. They're not doing anything for me these days. All right, this one comes to us.
Food business is hard, and the news business is even more hard.
And you got to get through the PR Newswire reports. This one is, are you ready for this? Outback Steakhouse decks the halls with the return of Steakmas and its mischievous koala on the walla.
I do. Ever since, I mean, everyone knows that Outback Steakhouse is not Australian, really, because I heard the background of it, and literally the guys were like, people like Australia. I think they literally just came out from like Crocodile Dundee and were like, hey, people like it. Like,
I feel like
everything's just like a cartoon version of Australia. This is 100% that.
Yeah, I do have the Australian man's voice burned into my brain from like Nickelodeon commercials.
Come down to Outback.
Come down to Outback. It's like the most like
Steakmas.
Oh no! Oh, the kangaroos have escaped, and we need to get them so we can turn them into steaks.
Oh, there's elf on the shelf, but we have koala on the shelf.
Koala on the walla.
we got our Christmas drop bear, and he's gonna come and he's gonna drop on your face and rip it off. It's gonna be be nice.
That's all right. All right, here we go. Outback Steakhouse is at it again, serving up the Aussie spirit with the official launch of Steakmas, a sizzling celebration packed with seasonal flavors, holiday fun, and surprising all season long as the koala on the walla takes over as the official mischief maker and decider of who's been good for goodness steak. They're really trying to make this a thing. They saw Elf on the Shelf and Snoop on the Stoop, and they're really trying for koala on the walla. They're really going to go for it.
But koalas also sleep 90% of the day. So this guy's like, I've seen what you've
you don't get any steak, and you. From festive new dishes to cocktails to holiday merch, Steakmas at Outback has everything you need to make this season quality from now until January 1st.
I love the hustle. It's because it's like they don't, at no point do they say this is the official restaurant of Australia. Maybe they kind of do, but it's also like it's so cartoony. I can't help but kind of like it. It's also like
they fundamentally they refuse to alter their product. They have steaks. You know what they have. So they have to come up with a different gimmick because they are not changing their product for you.
It's steaks and it's bloomin' onions. That's it.
That's it.
That's all you get, and it's all calories. And
it's all calories, and you can order a side of broccoli, but nobody does. Okay.
No, it would probably be bad. It would be bland. Ugh.
The real star of Steakmas, the koala on the walla. Outback's mischievous koala on the walla mascot is back, calling the shots on who's been nice enough to receive the gift of Steakmas cheer. With a cheeky grin and a knack for popping up in unexpected places. Oh God, he's in the house. He's here.
Hey there. It's 2 a.m. Aren't you ready for your Steakmas steak? What? Huh? Who let this koala in?
I feel like that could have been like a mid-2000s YouTube parody. It's just like
no, that'd be a commercial.
The sinister like Outback man. He's like just narrating your life. And you're like, get away from me!
Do you remember the Quiznos commercials that they had with the fucking like cutout? They had like two mascots that were little hamster things.
Yeah,
I gotta show you a picture. Yeah,
I
and they had like
remember
crazy
them.
eyes. Yeah, not to ruin everybody's time thinking those, but yeah, that would fit in perfectly.
And who needs mall Santa when you have koala at the malla?
That's I don't know a lot of children who are like, mommy, I want to go and I just want to see a really creepy koala.
They have an image of a plush koala here, and I'm sending you the image. He's at best concerned. Look at his face.
Oh,
he's best concerned.
What is this? What is on the steak? Looks like...
Hey, we're getting there, Will. We're getting there, all right?
God. Yeah, this is a lot. But yeah, that koala is not smiling. There's no smile.
There's no smile. Dead eyes. You can see it as deep fear in his eyes. Stare into those black abyss of pupils.
It's weird because the plushie does... The eyes at the upper part have the kind of like worry lines.
Yeah, the worry lines.
Like he's gonna like side eye and see a gun like right off screen.
I see you like meat. You're not gonna eat me, are you? Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. So eucalyptus, don't do it.
So what's on the Steakmas menu? Here are some new additions to their menu. Get ready to dip into holiday cheer with Outback's new 3-cheese steak dip.
What?
Hey, Will.
Wait, hold on. That's the cauldron? Is that the cauldron?
Will, have you ever been eating a steak and thought, there's 3 too few cheeses on this steak?
There needs to be more cheese.
There needs to be 3 more cheeses.
Steak, the thing famously people who are really into it say don't have anything. Don't have a single
when people say
a single slice.
Yeah.
And they have 3.
This merry blend of tender seasoned steak, creamy 3-cheese goodness, and a sprinkle of diced tomatoes and green onions is served warm and bubbly. Scoop up the flavor with crispy tortilla chips and let the cheesy, savory joy begin. I have never in my life had a steak in front of me and wanted to slop some warm cheddar onto it. Never in my life.
I would... Once again, asking, is that the cauldron on the side?
In the picture, though, that is the cauldron.
Okay,
it is just full of molten cheese.
I thought it was French onion soup. I'm gonna also say, I clicked on it. That cauldron, very visibly made of plastic. Very much
it
not
is melting. There is not safe. Do not eat from that.
So there's a steak also on we will get to what kind of looks like onion rings.
So
we'll probably reveal what that is.
Unwrap the flavors of the season with the bloomin' onion French onion sirloin. A juicy center cut sirloin is topped with melted provolone, crispy bloomin' onion petals, and a mini side of rich, savory French onion soup for the ultimate holiday dip. It's hearty, flavorful gift for your taste buds. So on the side there. Little French onion soup for you.
Okay, that's what.
Not good.
Not good. Cauldron there. That is French. Yeah. So it is a slice of cheese on there. It took me a moment.
Provolone, nonetheless.
Provolone's not a very flavorful cheese.
It's not the thing I want.
They just added bloomin'. They're like, these motherfuckers. They want the bloomin' onion. Just throw it on the steak. Like, let's just get it on. Only steak and bloomin' onion. It's just throw it on. Putting cheese on steak is just like. Put fucking buns. Make it a burger. Like, what are you doing? Make it a
steak and cheese sandwich.
Yeah, make it anything. Like, but like, just the thought of having a steak, having a block of melted cheese on top of it, and cutting into that and seeing it doesn't match with my expectations of steakhouses.
I think if you showed a real Australian this, they might have a meltdown. This is maybe the most culturally appropriated thing ever.
Here's time to add it all now.
Here's another one, an actually maybe tasty one that they didn't bother to put on their picture. Okay. Add a little holiday spice to your meal with our brand new chimichurri filet. This tender, perfectly seared filet is topped with a zesty chimichurri sauce and Outback's crunchy bloomin' onion carrot crunch, bringing bold, fresh flavors to every bite. Paired with a steakhouse potato and a side, it's a vibrant twist to a holiday cheer that'll make your season sizzle. A steak with chimichurri. That sounds delicious.
That's good.
Why are you fucking it up with this picture with a big boiling pot of cheese, my man?
I think that sometimes people say like Reddit and other websites are like a bubble. I think that all the executives at Outback are in some kind of weird, like they're mind melding.
They go to they go to like fast food con each year, and they do a lot of cocaine, and they come up with a lot of ideas, and then they go home and they try to parse the ideas, and they're like, cheesy steak, we thought that was good, I guess we got to go with it. We came up with it at the con, so everybody else is going to be doing it.
How much provolone did we buy? Oh man!
Oh shit, dude, we got to do something with this.
Get the chimichurri ones, but make sure everyone knows about the.
We gotta move this. We gotta move this provolone. Put it in the soup. Put it in the soup too. We gotta get rid of
it. Just as a little side note, my girlfriend left she went on a little trip. I was on my own, so I sent her an image of one of the meals I had, being like, I think this is a boyfriend at home meal, because it was like baked beans, broccoli we had left over, and like we just had ham steak, so I just threw it together a meal. And then she came that night, I absolutely farted myself to death. When she came home, she was like, I thought that was the point. I thought that was the joke of the boyfriend dinner, is that you're going to go the farts out beforehand. I was like, no. This is me. This is all to say, imagine your fucking fart after having the bloomin' French onion sirloin.
You're done. You're done.
The indigestion I could feel just looking at it is terrible.
Unbelievable. They end this by saying, don't forget the fan favorites that are making their returns. The gingerbread cookie martini, the smoked cinnamon pecan old fashioned, the chocolate, and then in a very confusing, they don't use the Oxford comma, but they damn well should. They say chocolate tower and bloomin' fried shrimp.
No,
they need that Oxford comma. If I was the editor, I would insist on that, because there is no comma in between chocolate tower and bloomin' fried shrimp, but they desperately need it there.
I've heard stories of all you can eat buffets, the tales, the infamy,
the
of
chocolate tower of bloomin' fried shrimp.
People booking fucking fried chicken in that chocolate fountain.
Gross. Anyways,
Disgusting.
If you're a freak, get out there this holiday season and, tear it up. Have a cheese on your steak, whatever you want. You're the boss. Have it your way.
You're the boss.
But now I hope there's less slices of cheese on your next segment, please.
Oh, there's zero. There's absolutely zero. Actually, the outfit that this character is wearing could be misconstrued as a slice of cheese, but probably not. I was going to transition with, speaking of the biggest weirdos of all, the Catholic Church.
Oh, perfect. Good transition.
This is in the news. And this is straight. This first news story is from Catholic News Agency, CNA, which I didn't even know fucking existed. And I'm Catholic. So,
so they're not getting out the good word.
But it's straight from Vatican City. This is new.
This is breaking news in the world of Christianity.
It's not breaking, because it's from October 28th, 2024.
Jesus is back? Oh, no, sorry, we misheard. No. Jesus is black. Okay, we got it.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Probably closer to the truth, if we're going to be honest. But this is, the title of this article is Meet Luci, the Vatican's cartoon mascot for Jubilee 2025.
Okay.
Ahead of the 2025 Jubilee, which I think is just like a big, I've heard of Jubilees as like just a general term for like big anniversaries, especially for countries.
Jubilee.
Like they had one.
When I think of Jubilee, I think of people really trying to get people excited, get them going. You got to be jubilant about this occasion. You can't just be, you can't just be normal about it. You got to be jubilant.
There's also a YouTube channel that I think does a lot of like social, like I think they do the button, or maybe that's the cut. There's another thing that was called Jubilee that I think did similar stuff. Anyway, so for this Jubilee, the Vatican has launched a cartoon mascot unveiled on Monday as the cheerful face of the Catholic Church's upcoming Holy Year. The mascot, named Luci, which I'm not sure if it's Luce or I'm just going to say Luci, because they say, which means light in Italian, which is why I might have a different pronunciation, is intended to engage a younger audience and guide visitors through the Holy Year. Archbishop Rino Fiscicelli.
The whole thing about you doing bad and going straight to hell isn't ringing with Gen Alpha. It's not doing a lot.
Now, for people, I'm going to just say outright, this is an anime character. This is straight up and I'm sending it to you right now just so you can have this in your head.
Oh, it's like a little chibi guy. Yeah,
it's cute. Yeah, it's very chibi. She has blue hair. She has blue eyes. She has a yellow raincoat, which is why I made the joke about it could be misconstrued as cheese.
Does she have a shepherd's hook?
Mm-hmm. She has a staff that has they like specifically name it something. Pilgrim's Cross is what
Pilgrim's Cross.
Maybe that's the actual cross on her because she's also wearing like prayer beads with the cross. But anyway, Italian. So that means Latin Italian is intended to engage a younger audience. The Archbishop, the Vatican's chief organizer of the Jubilee, described the mascot as part of the Vatican's goal to engage with the pop culture so beloved by our young people.
You know,
like the anime. The mascot will debut this week at the Luca Comics and Games, which is different from Luci. Luca Comics and Games.
We need a little more skibbity Jesus.
Why are these... They keep looking up Skibbity Toilet, but they don't look up Skibbity Hell? Why is this? Are they not afraid of hell anymore? So it'll debut at this convention, the Luca Comics and Games, Italy's celebrated convention for all things comics, video games, and fantasy, where the Vatican's discatery of evangelization? That's a hard word to say. Will host evangelization. That's what the Discatery of Evangelization will host a space dedicated to Luci and friends. It will be the first time that a Vatican discatery participates in a comics convention. For Sheila, who serves as the pro-prefect of the discatery for evangelization, they say it so many times, section for the new evangelization, said he hopes taking part in the convention will help us speak to younger generations about the theme of hope, which is more central than ever in the evangelical message. Clad in the yellow raincoat, mud-stained boots, and Pilgrim's Cross, Luci's mission is to guide young pilgrims towards hope and faith with her trusty dog Santino at her side. He's fucking... like it's Crypto the super dog or something.
This isn't mud on my boots. It's the blood of my enemies.
It's heretics. We should stomp their heads. Shells glimmer in her eyes, recalling the scallop shell of the Camino de Santiago, an emblem of the pilgrimage journey. Mm-hmm. Speaking at a Vatican press conference on the October 28th, next to a plastic figurine of Luci, Fischello describes Luci's shining eyes as a symbol of the hope of a heart. Luci, he said, will also be the face of Holy See's Pavilion Expo 2025 in Osaka, Japan, where she will be present at Vatican's pavilion theme Beauty Brings Hope, alongside Caravaggio's The Entombment of Christ, a painting that will temporarily be on loan from the Vatican museums for the expo. There is more characters, by the way, because it is Luci and friends.
And friends. She has friends, too.
She has friends. They are a multicultural, very Captain Planet group.
Oh, she has
all different color raincoats.
That's great. They're all wearing crosses. They all have their rain boots. This does kind of just look like palette swaps. A little bit?
100%. 100%. Because literally it's like a green raincoat, red raincoat, blue raincoat, but it's like a girl with pink hair, a guy that looks like he might be like Hispanic, and then a black gentleman wearing the blue. So like multicultural, very nice. Also,
which one of the friends got really into Dogecoin and is now trying to get the rest of them to buy in? Which one of them? Pink hair? Probably pink hair.
Oh, yeah, actually pink hair out of all of them. I don't, red I could see being like, hey, so, you into crypto? Apparently, Luci's yellow sailor's raincoat is a nod to both the Vatican flag and to journeying through life's storms. The mascot's muddy boots symbolize a long and difficult journey, while her staff symbolizes the pilgrimage towards eternity.
This feels like one of those English assignments where it's like, no, this is just blue. It doesn't mean anything. It's just because the author picked the color blue. It doesn't represent sadness.
They try. They try it.
They try it over here.
But that's the end of this article, but I do have a follow-up, which is, I hope you're going to
are these characters canceled already? Oh no.
They're my friend, they are the opposite of canceled. This is from 404 Media, which I don't know. This is one of those news websites that is literally all black and then has like neon green. So I don't know. This might be hacker news. Yeah, but hacker news. But this is a very appropriate story that they have. This is from November 5th, 2024 by Emmanuel Mailberg. The Vatican's anime mascot is now an AI porn sensation.
Oh no, I knew this was going to be bad. I knew it. Oh,
you knew
God.
It had to. AI and Rule 34 have inevitably turned the Catholic Church's cute Luci mascot into very graphic pornography. Last week, the Vatican unveiled Luci, a Japanese-style cartoon character. But anyway, it eventually gets to a paywall that I'm not sure if I want to get around. But the title of it was the main part of it. You know what the article is.
You know what we're going to do. Yeah.
The article, it just goes into further of like, yeah, they have, guess what? There's porn of Lucy immediately. And that's hilarious. It's at least funny to me. Hopefully, your next segment is also funny to me.
I hope so. I like being funny to you. Please.
Please.
This one is a conspiracy queries, kind of. Not really. But it's conspiracy. It touches on conspiracy. And it's coming to us on the one of the... Wait, is this true?
Is it a website that you did not? Is this
no.
CNN?
Sorry, I thought I picked this up because it's an anniversary of Disney. It may or may not be true, but anyways, this is 9 of the weirdest, most persistent Disney conspiracy theories. Some of which you're probably familiar with, and others. I mean, some of them are really obvious. Like, you know, the first one is the cryogenic storage. We'll get there. Yeah. But like others, I thought were kind of interesting and worth going through. This one comes to us from Polygon. We don't often pull from Polygon, but thanks. Yeah.
I've heard mixed things about I think they're one of the companies that got like bought out and is kind of being gutted.
I think it's Kotaku that's really happening
that might be Kotaku.
Too,
but
Polygon I hope they're doing it right.
Yeah, I hope so too.
So here are 9 of the conspiracy theories about Walt Disney. So the first one, this one I feel like everybody has heard is Walt Disney's head is in cryogenic storage, and I've heard specifically his head. I've heard his body, his whole. I've heard his. Yeah. I've heard different myths about this, but so here's their breakdown. This might be the most widespread and popular of all the myths concerning Walt Disney and the Disney Corporation. The story goes that when Walt died in 1966, his head, or some versions of the tale, his entire body, was cryogenically frozen to be reanimated when the technology to do so became available. It seems the story may have first appeared in the tabloid newspaper The National Spotlight in 1967, cropping up later in French magazine Ici Paris, and then again in the National Tattler. While it is true that the first instance of cryogenic freezing of a human body took place in 1967, there is zero evidence that the Disney creator's head or body are on ice. In 1972, his daughter Diane publicly repudiated the idea. Speculation may have been fueled by Walt Disney's particularly private funeral. In fact, he was cremated and his ashes interred at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. So the version of it that I always heard was that he was frozen, and he was specifically frozen and held in one of the Disney theme parks. Yes, like that was the one that I heard.
That's very, what's the guy under, was it Dodger Stadium? The Union guy. Why am I blanking on his name?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The Union boss.
I'll look him up while we're talking, but yeah, it feels very similar to that, and it has been something that we've heard about.
I feel like I heard about that as a kid.
Yeah, but what do you think about cryogenic freezing? Because this is something I've actually heard a little bit about. I find it interesting from a sociological standpoint, not necessarily a technological standpoint.
I feel like the best our science is ever going to be able to do is bring back a clone of you, which doesn't really do anything for the person who is frozen because their memories are not living on. Like that person's personality is gone. So even if they bring back a perfect clone, it's still a new person. It's weird though. Like if you were to clone yourself and then in your will leave all of your possessions to your clone, doesn't that kind of like isn't that kind of dystopian? Like, is that legal? Like, can you do that? I mean, like that is a person, so you can will anything to a person, right?
That gets into like altered carbon stuff. I don't know if you saw that show or read the book.
No, I didn't. Yeah,
it's like cloned sleeve bodies that then you upload your stuff into like the brainstem, basically.
Sure.
And so it's like if you killed that, like if you destroyed that part, then somebody's gone. But like until you do that, rich people just constantly are like just going into new bodies.
Sure.
Also, I looked it up. It's Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, it annoyed me until I
mutual brain fart.
Yeah.
Okay, number 2. So number 2 is that Walt left behind 5 years of micromanagement videos for his executives.
That, you know what? From what I've heard about him, I wouldn't be surprised.
Exactly. This section starts off with, this might be the least far-fetched theory on the list. Walt's death from lung cancer was relatively sudden and came at a pivotal moment for the company. Walt Disney World was still under construction, and Walt's brother Roy deferred his retirement to oversee the project. The myth persists that during these last days, Walt taped a series of short films explicitly addressed to the Walt Disney executives, which contained secret instructions concerning the future of the company, including a list of films which should never be released for the not yet invented home video market. Walt's vision was so important to Disney, the theory goes, that he detailed every step that his followers should take. Listen, you fucks, I worked hard. Don't fuck this up for me.
First off, Snow White 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's where I think we should go.
That's gotta go big, straight to
gotta
the moon.
Go big. He's just dying of lung cancer at the moment. I think it'll be great. This also just makes me think
we're gonna make a 3-part series for each individual dwarf. Each one's gonna get a 3-movie set. We're gonna end up with 21 movies for the dwarfs.
All the executives are just looking at each other. They're like, well, "This is what he wanted."
This is what he wanted. I don't know what people want.
It reminds me of Iron Man 2, where he gets the old footage of his dad, and he's just like, "This was the new fusion of the." But I don't think that Walt Disney would be like, "You're my greatest creation" to like his child. I think he had kids that he did like most great men. They were very mean to his kids.
The popular fact-checking The popular fact-checking website Snopes has already been over this one, pointing out the misconception that Walt had a tight rein on the company's minutiae. In fact, by the time of Walt's death, Roy Disney was already running most of the day-to-day business. Walt's role at the time was more akin to that of creative advisor, and he held far less than a controlling share in the company. The idea of leaving these kinds of personal rundowns for his underlings was most unlikely. I feel like he gained a reputation of being kind of a control freak probably in his earlier years. That's probably where this came up. So I could still see it. I could still definitely see it.
Yeah. This is another thing that it's like I've heard bits and pieces on, like mostly in terms of like there's an animator strike that was like very big during his time, and he's very much union busting kind of guy. He fucking hated that kind of stuff. I don't like Walt Disney all that much, but like he's an interesting guy, and it's also once again, great man like quote unquote great man, the Dan Carlin he has that term for like Genghis Khan and stuff of like great men who are usually also terrible. Yeah. He's definitely that.
Number 3, Walt Disney left money in his will for the first man who gets pregnant.
What?
This is not what I've heard. This is not what I've heard, but it's one of the weird. Yeah, really weird. And an utterly bizarre entry here. Even Snopes can't help out with this explanation about where this strange idea came from, beyond pointing out that the trope of an eccentric rich man leaving odd requests and stipulations in his will is very old. It must be said, however, that while Walt Disney was a creative thinker, he wasn't particularly eccentric. Walt certainly had a keen interest in technology that might advance human potential in some way, but nowhere did he write or talk about human reproduction. So,
no, that also goes against
just a weird one.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Who came up with that?
Money and it'll be in a trust, and it's going to build up over time. So by the end, it's going to be $20 billion.
And the first man who gets pregnant, it's like, yes, I'm rich. Yeah, I'm rich, baby.
Thanks, Walt.
Thanks, Walt. This one goes out to Walt.
I'm going to use this money to clone Walt Disney as a thank you.
Number 4, Walt Disney was born out of wedlock.
Interesting. Okay.
This one starts, if it's in print, it must be true, right? This cracker can be traced back to the single book published in 1994, ominously titled Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince. It was written by a name named Mark Elliott, and within its pages you'll find accusation that Walt was an anti-Semite and a spy for the House of Un-American Activities Committee, and that he faked his birth certificate, having really been born to a peasant woman in Spain. In actuality, it's well documented that Disney was born in Chicago, and Mark Elliott has been thoroughly discredited by experts, including Disney historian Didier Guez, who labeled the book as so full of mistakes, guesses, intentional lies, and non-intentional ignorance, it is hardly worth mentioning. What a quote. I love that.
Quote. Hey, you should just ignore this guy. He's a fucking idiot.
Eminent animation historian Michael Barrier concurs, describing Dark Prince as, quote, easily the worst Disney biography I've ever read.
Oh my God.
That's kind of like Captain Jack Sparrow, but you have heard of me.
You did read my work. You bought the book. I got you.
Bought the book. Number 5, Cinderella's castle can be dismantled and moved.
Oh,
kind of interesting.
Yeah, I could absolutely see that being a urban legend.
Although the origins of this are unclear, this myth at least kind of makes sense. Florida regularly suffers from extreme weather, situated as it is near the tropics. Hurricanes are a regular occurrence, especially during the summer months when Disney World welcomes its highest number of visitors. Perhaps it wouldn't be surprising if one of the leisure park's most beloved attractions, the 189-foot Cinderella Castle, could be dismantled in times of emergency. There is, however, zero truth to this rumor. The castle is completed in July 1971 after 18 months of construction. 600 tons of steel bracing, together with reinforced concrete and a concrete substructure, mean that the building can reportedly withstand winds up to 125 miles per hour.
Oh my God. Yeah, in Florida,
it's hurricane ready.
Yeah, it's hurricane ready.
The castle's exterior design takes inspiration from real-life medieval castles around the world. It isn't a modular piece of architecture designed to be easily broken down and moved. I can totally see where this one comes from, where it's like they think it's basically a play stage, like a set on a stage, and could be moved or carted around. I think also probably contributing to this is if you go and look at the castle, it's smaller in real life than you'd think.
I was gonna say I thought it was because I remember seeing a video that was about a now discontinued ride that was like Black Cauldron. It was a terrifying ride that was underneath the castle. So it was supposed to be like the dungeons of the castle. But isn't there also like hotel rooms that you can go into Cinderella's castle or something?
Oh, I don't know about that actually. Would you be able to? It's like right in the middle of a park. Could you actually book that?
I thought I've heard about that, but
while like it's fun to creatively think about what kind of rooms exist in that castle, my logical sense is that it's mostly just like utility and maintenance stuff for like the people who are on set there.
Okay, so I just Googled it right now. It is not available to be booked. It is a kind of sad. It's a Make-A-Wish thing.
Oh, but it does exist. Like there are actual.
There is a suite. There is a castle suite.
No way. Okay.
So
I mean, honestly, the fact that you can't book it, they can't book it, and they're actually like giving it up as a space for people, like for a good cause. It's actually kind of sweet. The fact that they're doing that. That's kind of nice.
I'm. If it's going to be any cause, I'm glad it's that.
Like, it's not just like Jeff Bezos every night. He's like, I booked it out for the next 3 years, idiots.
I bought every castle in Scotland, and now I'm here.
I'm going to find Walt's head if it's the last thing I do.
It's in the dungeons. I know it.
Number 6, Disney World is covered by a giant protective dome.
What?
This is
You'd
another.
Be able to see that.
So this is another of the most enduring myths on the list, and it seems like some people live to fuel it, judging by some of the posts on Quora. An incredible number of folk persist in believing that a giant invisible dome covers Disney World, keeping out both bad weather and pesky insects, which I feel like if you've ever been to Disney World in Florida, you would know that there are bugs there. Like
this is the easiest debunking ever. There's no dome because it would be so huge, and also, it rains. It still fucking rains there.
Also, what do you mean invisible dome? Like you'd see it.
Yeah, even it's not completely invisible.
Right, it would reflect light, at least from the outside. You'd be able to it couldn't just be like totally transparent.
No, these people are ridiculous.
This story is easily repudiated by a number of holiday blogs, which recommend the best times to visit Disney World in order to avoid rain. Further proof comes via the fact that the leisure park has pre-planned backups in case of bad weather, including a special rainy day parade. The origins of this story possibly stem from a real project for a climate-controlled dome, which was originally planned to stand at the heart of Disney World. Provisionally named Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow, the idea was abandoned before construction began. So they were actually maybe thinking of doing something like this, but why would you do all of that and then make it a secret? Why wouldn't you just tell everybody? You're like, it's perfect weather in Disney World, come on down. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Let's just tell people, why make it secret?
That would be amazing pitch. If hey, you can come here no matter what, and you can also see the sky still. Like, you're not even inside. Wow. Yeah,
some of the conspiracy theories is just like, what's the reason for the secret?
Yeah, I mean, that's like that's the flat Earth like debunking is like, okay, so every single government on the planet is doing this, and also like everybody who goes to the edge gets killed or like doesn't say anything. Right. Like what? There would be so many people.
This is very much one of the. What are the razors that you were talking about like how an illogical argument doesn't need facts to disprove it. Like they need to provide facts first to evidence their argument, and then you have to, whichever one it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I think it was Hanlon's razor, which says like anything that can be asserted without evidence can be disregarded without evidence.
Right.
Which is like, yeah, that's if you don't have any evidence of this fucking dome, you're an idiot. Like
you're an idiot.
What are you doing?
Number 7, no one can die at Disney park. At a Disney park.
This is one I've heard. But it's usually in the context of like jurisdictions, which makes it a little bit more interesting and likely to me. Where I've heard that they try to get people,
they can't like
try to get people into a parking lot, basically, to say like technically nobody's died here because it's technically. That's what I've heard. But let's go to actually how they debunk it.
A macabre entry here, and a surprisingly popular one. To clarify, no one is claiming that Disney's properties emit magical life-giving energy.
No.
At least so far as we know. Rather, the claim is that no one has ever been legitimately pronounced dead in a Disney park. This myth asserts that Disney staff always removes deceased bodies from the park property before informing the authorities, presumably in a way to avoid negative publicity. Yes. Putting aside the legal implications of such an act, Snopes once again comes to our aid. The fact-checking site has unearthed at least 3 documented cases of deaths on Disney property, including 4 from the 1980s and another from 2018, when a utility worker at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort died after the cart he was working on flipped, pinning him to the floor. Yikes. While the Disney Corporation has certainly been accused of overzealous protection of its public image, on this one, it's in the clear. I also think that like when you say a Disney property, Disney owns hotels. And people certainly die in hotels. Like, there is no question about that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, cruise ships have morgues. Like,
do they actually?
Oh, yeah. Or they'll just put them in the freezer. Yeah.
Wow. I never thought about that. That if they're on a cruise in the middle of the ocean, they have to preserve the body, right?
Yeah. I don't know what they do. I think they take it back all the way, or they get it shipped. I forget what, like, happens if they get to port. Like, do they give it to authorities?
Wow. That's so strange.
But yeah, you don't think about but also it's because old people all over those cruises. So it's like, yeah, they're probably dying.
Right. All right, number 8, we're coming down to it. The busts in the Haunted Mansion are modeled on Walt Disney's face.
What? Oh, okay.
Disneyland in California, Disney World in Florida, and Tokyo Disneyland all feature the Haunted Mansion, a popular ride-through attraction which uses a mixture of old theater techniques and state-of-the-art technology to summon up a host of ghoulish surprises. Some of the most famous residents of the Haunted Mansion are the Singing Busts, a group of 5 armless plaster torsos whose heads spring to life and regale visitors with some close harmony singing, thanks to some nifty projected video effects. In some versions of this myth, one of the busts is based on Walt Disney himself. In other versions, it's all of them. While Walt was known as a versatile performer, this is another theory which can easily be dismissed, as the identities of the actors and singers behind the busts are all well known. And then they list the names. I didn't know about this ride, but I mean, it kind of actually would be interesting if they did put one that was based on Walt in there. Like, why not? Like, throw it in there.
It would just be a little like Easter egg. It wouldn't be... Like, this is one of those things that it's like, just even if it is real, who gives a shit?
Right. It's like not a big conspiracy, even if it is true. But like, you know, people are basically looking for Easter eggs where they aren't any. But I'm kind of like, you could put them in there if you want.
Especially with Disney. Oh, Jesus Christ. People are all the secret Mickeys. Like they kind of like cause people. Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing in the park is they have like little Mickey Mouses, like the 3 circles. Yeah. And like the buildings and stuff. But so they make it a fun little game, but it's also, that's cute. Like, it's just like a cute little thing. And it's not this.
Right. All right. Number 9, which I think almost everybody has heard at one point or another, was Walt Disney was a Nazi sympathizer.
There we go.
This one? This is the big one. They saved it for the end. So let's get into it, because I think until reading this, I thought this was true. But here's what they have to say about it.
At least part of we don't know his internal thoughts. So no, we don't. Could technically be, but we don't know. Well, they're probably going to debunk it right now, but
at least part of this inflammatory theory, which has been debunked, dates back to a discredited Mark Elliott book, Walt Disney, Hollywood's Dark Prince, coming up again. Mm-hmm. But even modern animated comedies like Robot Chicken and Family Guy have featured jokes alluding to this myth, that might have been where I picked it up in like a Family Guy episode or something. During World War II, Walt participated in the making of top-secret training films for the U.S. military, which would have required the highest level of security clearance. He also produced many propaganda shorts criticizing the Nazis. So he actively was anti-Nazi in that sense. It is true that the German filmmaker Leni Riefenstahl, whose documentaries glorified Hitler's regime, visited Disney Studios in 1938. She was in America to promote her new film about the Olympics. Walt invited her on a tour of his studio, but refused to screen her film or provide support for it. Stories that Walt also met with Benito Mussolini in Italy are false, and there are no credible evidence to suggest Walt has anything other than an American patriot. So I guess basically they point to basically like the Dark Prince as being the origin of this, and I'm like immediately like, oh, that clown book. Okay.
The reason I think that people get really into it is because other people have had similar sympathies. Like there's literally like Charles Lindbergh, who's the Lindbergh baby guy, is a pilot, and he was mega into Nazis.
Yikes.
And he was a rich guy. So like, and he's kind of in the same time period, in the same like vein.
I think it's something that like you could see a powerful man in that time period and say like, oh, he's a Nazi sympathizer, and everyone could be like, yeah, I can kind of see it.
Yeah, he's also, once again, very anti-union. So I feel like that also, it's like he's leaning maybe a little bit more right-wing, but that doesn't mean he's full-fledged Nazi, is basically what the...
He can be a not great rich guy, but it doesn't make him a Nazi.
It doesn't make that, I think that's the kind of succinct way to put it.
But those are the nine conspiracy theories. I was happy to hear about maybe if I get pregnant, I can have just a little slice of that Disney money, baby.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, now, this is going to be proof that Theo and I do not discuss our segments beforehand, because, Theo, we're going into conspiracy query.
Whoa!
For America's other giant property, which is McDonald's.
Hey, we're hitting all the American classics this year.
We are. So I went to the Wikipedia page for McDonald's Urban Legends, which I'm going to be using for this.
This has got to be a rife treasure trove.
I thought there was going to be more. There's definitely enough meat for us to do a full segment. I thought there was going to be a little bit more. Going to be honest.
There's got to be at least 3 about Grimace, or I quit the podcast.
There aren't any about Grimace, honestly.
Oh, I quit the podcast.
It's mostly about the actual food itself. So this is conspiracy query. We don't do it that often because, one, conspiracies recently have been a little bit of a downer and haven't been very fun. 2, I feel like there's only certain categories for conspiracy that you can really mine for this, because we already did like a lot of the major ones in our past episodes, like having to do with like
we did the Bermuda Triangle for sure.
Bermuda Triangle. We did a lot of those different ones. So now we're getting into this kind of stuff. And the way that conspiracy query works is I have thrown in my own little false narratives, my own false little things here. These are all urban legends. Like
some
normally,
call him the Dark Prince of Wikipedia over here.
So, number 1, that the cheeseburgers at McDonald's could be said to be confectionery, or like it could be under the category of confectionery cheeseburgers.
What does that mean?
That I'm trying not to get into like too much details. It's hard.
I don't know. I just don't. What is that classification? The only term confectionery that I know of is like confectionery sugar, but I don't know.
I will read. Or one story claims that if McDonald's cheeseburgers did not include pickles as an ingredient, the cheeseburgers would be classed as a confectionery item,
like a sweet. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Interesting.
And by the way, for this conspiracy query, I have inserted 2 false ones. You only need to get 1 right.
Interesting. Okay.
My thoughts 2,
okay, yeah, I'll wait.
That they use cow eyeballs in the food.
Okay. All right.
Number 3, they have tested attic hot dogs multiple times and failed.
Is that I feel like I've just heard that. Okay.
Number 4, that McDonald's has funded terrorism.
Interesting.
Number 5, that the McRib causes cancer, which is why it is limited.
I think I actually know more about the McRib, which I think debunks that. I think it's just when there's beef shortages, right? It's like that's what they pull out, then it's made of pork.
I still got more. These are very similar. One that earthworms were used to make burgers, and then this other one is human meat was used to make burgers.
Okay, all right.
And then very also similarly, mutant meat, laboratory
meat.
Yeah,
got these mutants out here. I come out from my vault, and all there is super mutants all around me. Gotta make some burgers.
That the next one is that they charge African American customers more. There's a racism charge.
Okay, there's a racism charge.
Then that they have pig fat in a lot of their foods, most notably their ice cream.
I mean, they used to make French fries out of beef tallow. So like, what's the big secret? Yeah.
I think this would be, it's in the milkshakes and ice cream as opposed to
it's like a thickener.
Yeah. Okay. And then last that they use pink slime for the chicken McNuggets.
I think that the pink slime one is a real accusation or like a real conspiracy. I don't think you made that one up.
Mm-hmm. I can go through them again if you like.
Yeah, real quick.
Confectionery cheeseburgers.
Okay.
Cow eyeballs.
Okay.
Funding terrorism. Mm-hmm. Hot dogs.
Hot dog.
Earthworms, human meat, and mutant meat.
Okay. Those are three separate ones?
Those are three separate ones.
Okay.
McRib causes cancer.
Okay.
Pig fat, pink slime, and racism.
I'm going to say earthworms is fake. I think you made that one up.
Okay. I
have to lock in 2 before I get any answers. Oof.
No, you just have to lock in 1 and see if it's one of. You can lock in the second one if you like.
I'm locking in earthworms for sure.
All right. You would be incorrect, Theo. Frick. That is one that I didn't. I mean, it kind of makes sense that people would think because it's just such a throwaway kind of thing where they just go, whatever.
Yeah. I just thought that I think that the mutant. I think that the human flesh one is real, and so I kind of thought that you bundled the worms in as like a kind of a gotcha.
That would have been smart because like once I was like, yeah, that's actually very smart. The ones I came up with were adding hot dogs. Because I had never heard about that, so maybe it is a real thing. I don't know.
I mean, I almost wonder if they haven't tried it. If there's like a really sound business reason why.
But yeah, because I worked at a Five Guys and they had hot dogs there.
They do have hot dogs, and I think their hot dogs at Five Guys are good. Like,
yeah, they are
a good option.
I would get them often, especially because they got free ones and you get sick of the burgers. And then the other one was the McRib causes cancer.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, I went backwards logic of like, okay, let me go through the products, and I was like, oh, the McRib. Why is it limited? Yeah, and then I was like, okay, McRibs are weird. Also, like,
I think that I heard that the McRib literally was just when there's a shortage of the meat they use for burgers, they bring out the McRib. And they don't want to do it all the time because like it's considered special, but it's really because of like this logistics factor.
Yeah, which is smart of them to do, I guess. But let's go into a few of these.
Sure.
Funding terrorism. In the late 1980s, rumors persisted that the United Kingdoms that McDonald's was covertly funding the Provisional IRA, which was the Irish resistance group. Like that was the Troubles. If you've ever heard of the concept of the Irish,
is that
Troubles,
because it's McDonald's? Is that like
I don't know if it. Well, they say so. It's a designated terror organization via NORAD. The source of these rumors was eventually traced to a CNN talk show in which the company was praised for its generosity in providing funds for employees via individual retirement accounts or IRAs.
People are so dumb.
So the confectionery cheeseburgers rumor was just that it stems from the belief that the sugar content in the bun is so high, but adding a pickle then keeps the overall sugar percentage below the threshold, which is classed as confectionery, which they say urban legend. All of these are false, by the way.
Right.
Or at least they've all said it has been false.
It's been written down somewhere, so it must be true.
The cow eyeballs is so that they could say it's 100% beef, but also providing cheaper things. But they said cow eyeballs are actually more expensive than the more commonly eaten cow parts due to demand for scientific institutions for experiments. So
that's kind of a good thing to know. It's just like logistically, there's no reason why they would do this. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
Debunked by logic. earthworms and human meat are self-explanatory. Grind up worms. This is the mutant one's weirder. Around March, April 2000, an internet rumor spread via email in Brazil that claimed that McDonald's meat...
email? What?
in
Send
Brazil.
This to 5 of your friends or you're going to get
Brazilian emails are going to be cause of this. Claimed that McDonald's meat was actually made from a genetically modified animal maintained in a laboratory, attributing the findings to the Michigan State University. The email stated that the creatures kept were, quote, figures without legs and without horns, which are fed through tubes connected to the stomach, which in fact have no bones, but a little cartilage that never develops. And, quote, anyone who has seen them assures them that they are very unpleasant things because in addition to remaining immobile for all their life, they have no eyes, no tail, and practically no fur, in which, in fact, the head is the size of a tennis ball. So,
so they think that it's all lab grown is basically what they think.
They think that that McDonald's found a way to have the perfect meat organism that has no bones, is all just flesh, just literally a blob of meat that they could just harvest. Like,
all I'm saying is, like, isn't that kind of the dream? Like,
well, they say that it might. This is where it kind of gets into the 2000s era. They say that it could cause health problems resulting in diseases who manifest themselves in a similar way to AIDS and have symptoms related to Alzheimer's
very
disease.
Early 2000s.
That's very
AIDS
early
panic.
2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's been attributed to other fast food chains also, such as KFC and Mutant Chickens. Pig fat.
This is such a... I love the idea of lab-grown meat. Let's get there. Come on, what are we doing?
I'm make it artificial. I don't care. Like, we have so much artificial
There's no
bullshit
animal
in our life.
cruelty, and there's less emissions. Just do it.
Pig fat is literally that they use pig fat in milkshakes, ice cream, and fried potatoes, which fried potatoes make sense, but the ice cream and
might
fried...
be good.
Yeah. This includes... So it's basically because they saw that they had unidentified fats within the ice cream on their like list of products, or like,
yeah, dude, it's made from dairy. What do you?
Yeah. Anyway, pink slime. They said
who's the person who's like micro-examining the nutrition contents of their milkshake and going like, I don't know about this, man.
It's not very good for you.
Something's not right. I don't feel good.
The pink slime is everyone I think at some point
has heard of the pink slime.
Yeah, it's what people make chicken nuggets out of, just ground up like all the parts you don't like of like beaks and organs and stuff. They showed a video showcasing how chicken nuggets are made in response. So they this is the most like
how
debunking.
It's made?
Yeah, they did a full debunking. I don't know if it's actually that they don't use pink slime, but they say that it's debunked. This is the most like I'm not 100% sure. This is completely debunked in my mind. But racism. Rumors in 2011 proclaimed an image showed a McDonald's sign announcing a $1.50 surcharge for African American customers. This was proven to be a hoax. Like,
of course, they would be immediately shut down. That's illegal.
Super illegal. But that was Conspiracy Query. I hope you enjoyed. And I hope you all enjoyed this episode of the podcast, because we got to the end of it, baby. We're here.
We got it. And we got me thinking about hot dogs, and now I got to go eat a hot dog.
I want a hot dog. Give me that hot dog. But if you enjoyed this podcast, remember that you could give us a star rating or review on your podcast network of choice. If you'd like to send us segments, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our YouTube for full episodes. And we have a big thank you to give to somebody in particular.
That would be to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music, and she has other amazing music you can find on your streaming platform of choice. And some say that she's cryogenically frozen somewhere in Segment City. You gotta find her. Help her. She doesn't want to be frozen.
She's hanging out with Jimmy Hoffa and Walt Disney.
Hey, this is crazy, right?
It's nuts here. Well,
Union's not doing so good these days, Jimmy.
No,
I don't know.
Oh shit! He comes back from the grave. He's like, "How's the Union doing?"
Not great, Jimmy.
Not great. But now we get to the last segment of the day, which is iwaspoisoned.com. This is from a Olive Garden. I love that they specify Olive Garden Italian restaurant in Whitehall, Pennsylvania. 8 ganchi soup. And
what?
I think it's supposed to be
soup?
I think it's supposed to be gnocchi, but they've written it as ganchi.
Ganchi.
8 ganchi soup. And feed my child the soup.
The ganchi
Was quite cold, but didn't want to complain, and we were hungry. My 1-year-old child threw up projectiles 6 times night. I had massive cramps and diarrhea. My child has been sick for 4 days. No. And not eating regular foods anymore. Will report to Olive Garden. All caps.
Mama, ganchi.
It's ganchi. And once again, in the most crazy thing, they show a picture of the vomit.
Of course they always do.
Why do they do that?
Photographic edits. I got it all on camera.
You don't need to prove it. You don't need to prove it to me. I know that your child probably.
We believe you.
1-year-olds, that's like one of 3 things that 1-year-olds do is throw up.
We believe you.
We believe you. Ganchi.